Alright, so we just finished up taking a look at the color settings in Lightroom. I'm going to add another photograph. I took a photograph of my dog here. I'll go ahead and add this into the Lightroom library. And we're going to just finish up taking a look at the last couple settings within Lightroom. You have effects, optics, previous, and reset. So in this video, and it'll be a little bit of a shorter one, I want to hit effects, and this is actually pretty straightforward. There's some options here that look like they're, well, I see they're going to show up once I modify the vignette there. But so if I hit clarity, now we've explored clarity on the iPhone's camera, the native camera app. Clarity is something that is best used if it's a little bit subtle. I almost feel like I oftentimes use it actually, maybe about bumping it up to like 33 or something. I will do a before and after. Again, this button here at the top, before and after, and it's a really difficult. It's difficult to describe in words what's going on here, and you know, seeing it here on this YouTube video isn't going to be as good as just taking a photograph yourself, bumping the clarity up to 30 or 40 or something like that, and then doing a before and after. Look for yourself at what it does. In most cases, for me, it has a positive effect. Now there are some times, if you want the effect of your image to be a little bit like a blurry or something like that, there's sometimes definitely when bumping the clarity down is what's called for. So I'll do a before and after. There's a before and there's an after, and it's like a softer image. It appears to be like everything just seems a little softer with that. So clarity is one of the things that can definitely have an interesting effect, like an art, but you have to use it carefully, and if you bump it all the way up, it just gets crazy. I mean, which, you know, is interesting. There's the before and then the after, before, after, and while that might be interesting, it's a little bit radical and not all that tasteful. Clarity's best when it's just mixed in just about in the, I mean, use your judgment, sometimes less than 30. Now, dehaze. This isn't really a great picture for it, but this would be, I believe, if you took a photograph that was outdoors, sometimes the colors, it depends on the quality of the air at the time, and like if you're taking pictures, for example, of mountains, you might notice, like if it's far away, the mountains are far away, you might notice that there's the color, it looks a little less strong. And what you could do there is just bump it up. You could use a saturation. Slider to do the same thing, but the dehaze slider can do that too. It can kind of, you can either like, imagine it's like a cloud, for example. You can either eliminate the cloud. This is like right in the middle. You could either eliminate some of the cloud or add some of the cloud back. Like if you're looking through a cloud to take a picture. A little bit hard to describe, but just play around with it. Now this last one, the vignette, and I use this one sometimes. It's actually pretty cool here, and it helps an image kind of pop a little bit, and you'll see why in a second. So with this image here, I've got my dog, he's kind of leaning to one side, and in the center is his face, but this information in the corners, like here, 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 and here, it's kind of useless information. I don't really get a lot from it. I want the viewer to look right in the center of this photograph, and I can add what's called a vignette. Now look at the corners. Here it turned all white, and that just looks silly. So, and here it turned all black, and that looks silly too. But we can do it tastefully, and notice once I adjusted the slider there for vignette, all of these other options showed up, such as midpoint, feather, roundness, and highlights. I will actually make it as extreme as possible so it makes showing you what the other ones do a little easier. The midpoint is just like, where is the center of this vignette gonna be? For my image, I'm gonna maybe put it here. Again, I'm definitely gonna take the vignette amount down after I'm done with these other ones. Now the feather is, how hard is the edge? Look, that's like a perfect oval, and the edge is hard. And if I go like this, then it's just completely feathered. Like the transition is you don't actually see where there's any line between the vignette and the photograph. And I'm going to take that feather down to maybe something like, why can't I grab it? Sometimes the sliders, there we go. I think I'll take, I like to have it blurred in to where you can't really see, but I'll take it down to 74. And now the roundness, is it going to be a, like more of a rectangle, or is it going to be round? And I think right there is fine. Highlights in the center, if you look at his back, like above his head there, check out what's going on. I'll bump that up a little bit. And then now I'm finally going to take the vignette down to what, so this is like before the image was modified at all, and I'm just going to kind of creep it in until, that's a verb for you there, just creep it in. And I'm just going to add the vignette until it's like, okay, that's perfect. You can barely tell that that's what it is, but now we have an image. In fact, now that I've done that, what I think I'd like to do is go back to light and exposure and kind of, I always go back to the exposure slider, and I just added 0.28. I'm actually going to bump that up to, I like the white of my dog's face there, 0.36. So I just brightened the image up, and now I'll go back to the vignette. And I think because I added more exposure, I'm going to go, instead of 38, I might go just a little bit more, 42. And here we go. We'll do a before and after. There's the before, and there's the after. Now, vignette is something that really helps the viewer focus in on, you can add a vignette in different spots. Traditionally, vignettes occur because of the physics of a camera, and that's just a darkening around the edges, and that's something that's kind of natural to just taking a photograph. So just be aware that that's something that you can use. Try to blend it in tastefully in your images. And let's see, I think I saw, split tone. Let's see what that does. Oh, okay, so this is another, perhaps it's another subject for another video, but I'm going to sneak it in here. So this is really interesting actually. In the highlights of your image, you can select a color, and the lightest parts of your image will have the tone of that color. So I'll just pick this color here, and then in the shadows, I'm going to pick a different color, and this is called there's two tones, it's called a split tone image. And then in the bottom is the balance between the highlights and the shadows. So you can add a really interesting, maybe something like this. That's kind of, it actually, what I recommend actually is use a black and white photograph, and then try to go in here to the split tone settings. And this is just something you can explore. You don't have to, yeah, that's kind of interesting. You can get some. So here we go, before and after. And that's just from playing with the split tone stuff. So again, clicking on highlights, you can select your color, and then click on shadows, select your color, and then adjust the balance and see what it does. Just explore it, have fun with it. The last thing I should mention here is that there are these options here for the style, the color priority, paint overlay. Explore these options and see if they have any interesting effect on your image. I don't use these myself. When I make adjustments, I'll go and I'll do like vignette and midpoint and feather and roundness. I definitely use all those. I haven't explored split toning a whole lot, but it's something that's interesting and definitely can create like an advanced looking photograph. So I highly recommend that if you want to add some uniqueness to your image, you can add that aspect to your photographs.